Right, so we had a lot of people asking about the human flag. They want to get involved, they want to have a go, they don't think they've got anywhere to do it. And use the squat rack. And it is quite simple, we can set that up. The distances, we'll show you a little bit in a minute, but we can show you that by creating 2 bars, we can hold and start to work on our human flags. A couple of points, that set position then. Bottom arm down, thumb pointing backwards. Top arm is that pulling arm again, thumb pointing backwards behind you. That's your setup. Trying to create a stable triangle here that's something similar to an equilateral triangle. Okay, so now here comes the science bit. Not a lot of people know this about me, but I'm actually a qualified science teacher and I have a first class honours degree.
Boring!
In engineering, and we're going to look a little bit at the engineering of the human flag. How far apart do they need to set up their hands position? If we're looking at where we can set up 2 bars in the squat rack, we want to know how far apart they need to be. So if we've got our pole or our position in the squat rack, what we're trying to create is this stable base. My arms are here, there's my sort of shoulder joint out to the hip joint, and hopefully perfectly, you want it straight, hopefully perfectly out, legs
You've got
out.
a first class degree in arts, have you?
No, this is stickman. So what we're trying to do, it's horizontal.
And also, you should know from your science that, like, isn't it that the total wingspan of your arms is the same length as the height? I think you've got that wrong. It doesn't look like it's quite... Carry on.
Anyway, now you've ruined my video.
Carry on. I haven't. That'd be good.
We have ruined it.
Chop that out.
So you want to say, oh, so you want...
Do you want me to cut or do you want
No, keep rolling this.
Okay, we're rolling, baby. At least give him 2 legs.
So, no, but the legs.
I know, but
looking side by side, you can't see them. So you want the body longer relative to.
Yeah, that looks more proportionate.
So because what I was trying to do, I'm going to draw something else over here. I was trying to leave some space to. Anyway, the important part we want to look at is this position here. So we get asked how far apart do these hands need to be, and as a basis we can look at. And we're trying to create what's like as close to an equilateral triangle as possible here. So we can measure our arm length and from our finger down to the middle of our chest. My able assistant Tim. And what are we at, Tim? It's about 1 metre. So I'm going to look to get this similar sort of distance. Something around 1 metre, then we can measure those 2 points. And that is what?
104.
104. Yeah, so something similar. If we start to have these a little bit further apart, we'll show you how that can make it a little bit easier, but there's going to be an optimum where if you go too far apart, it's going to feel impossible. But certainly the smaller these are, the further you are away from it, it's going to feel impossible. So there is an optimum distance. Taller than me or got longer arms than me, then it might be that position for you is going to be a little bit further. What we can do is play around with that position a little bit, and just to explain that for you. If I increase this length here, so let's make me wider apart from my hands, so this angle here starts to increase, that's going to put me closer to the pivot point of where I'm holding on to. So if we start to decrease this distance here, it's going to mean we're not going to need to create quite as much tension through the body. So that might be 1 metre or it might be 1 metre 5. If you like to be scientific about it, you can do some measurements.
What if you've been on that Channel 4 programme Ditch Past You, so it's like the boy with the stupidly long arms? What would you do then? Does it apply?
I don't actually know what you're talking about. So we're coming in a little bit closer. A couple of key points to set this up so you're setting it up safely. We want to think that top arm is pulling, so when it's within the rack, I want to make sure that I'm not starting with it here, that I'm starting with it against however far apart you're at the end of that clip or pull.
And make sure you've got a nice flat knuckle here, guys. We don't want this. The last thing we want is this bar popping off.
Flying off the top, yeah. The other thing is I've put some weights on there. That's not just to look good and make people think I'm squatting 60 kilo. It just gives that a little bit more stable base there to pull against. The bottom one, we don't need to worry about putting too many weights on there. Just important, again, this is our pushing. So rather than it being at the end, the same as here, I want to push it up against the rack. It gives you your perfect, what we call a human flag rack, also known as a squat rack, to help you get started with your human flag training and redefining your impossible. Which is a tip from me, watch out for those squat guys. You know the ones, they've got the big legs, giving it all the grunting within the squat rack. If they see you flagging in there, there could be a little bit of trouble, but that's up to you. Take the risk if you fancy it. And enjoy your human flag journey.